Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
At the last meeting, I requested information on several items, and as to date, we have not received any reply or that information. It pertains to the CARES update, the smart pools, the treasurer's report, and I guess one of the things we were looking forward to is seeing that on the website in advance so we could plan our meetings around that information. So we try to use the website as a working tool, and without data on there, it's not being as useful as it could be. So I'm hoping that we'll get the answers today, and if not, I'd like to know when we will get them. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Is that on this? All right. Any other comments? Okay. Glenn, any comments from anybody else on the system? No other public comments? All right. Some of this has been on there. Customers receiving service, numbers only. As we mentioned last week, we would not be giving any specific information for privacy reasons.
Pull your mic a little closer.
Is that better?
Is your green light on?
Yeah, it is. Is that better? I'll be swallowing it if oh, that sounds better. Okay. As we mentioned last month, we won't be giving specific names or anything. We can give a number, but no specifics because of privacy issues. So, receiving service from courthouse tower. Some of this, I don't know. I know, Nicholas, you've sent out the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, last meeting I reported on the CARES, the numbers of how many people are being signed up at the current time. So I report on BTS right after, I think the public hearing or shortly thereafter. And granted, the polls, smart polls, it's kind of hard to report on, but we put together a matrix that will be part of the webpage and it was supposed to be part of the agenda today, but it wasn't added to the agenda, but it will be added to the webpage. And moving forward on a monthly basis, we'll kind of keep that updated. So it's kind of hard to talk through how much bandwidth is being used in the smart polls and on a total basis, on a weekly basis. So that's really more of a visual information. But as far as the CARES Act on the fixed wireless program, on a monthly basis, I provide an update on that. But we do have to protect consumer identities, of information of addresses, names, and things like that.
I'm just looking at the, oh, I'm sorry, somebody else making, go ahead.
Well, in that case, I do have a question. How many customers are there as of this meeting?
We'll provide the update later in the meeting.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the
today.
agenda to report on
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So could you say a little more about what makes it so hard to know about the data about smart polls?
I think there's some issues we, as a board, also have to discuss, which we have to go through and say, how are we going to set up things? You ask for financials. We don't have that. Part of that is also with the county that we have to work with.
Well, I guess I don't understand that the board doesn't have a financial report. How
Well,
can that be?
Treasurer's report's on me just because we just started school this month and I've been kind of booked by that.
Well, I'd be happy to look at one from last October.
Oh, I have
Do you have those?
the financials for the past 2 months right here. If you'd like a copy.
Sure, I would.
And I think that, I think we should pause for a moment because it is a public comment period. And that means that you are welcome to stand up and make comments. We are not necessarily required to have answers to those questions at the time. And sometimes, like with sometimes we have to consider your question and deliberate on them at some point. And as Nicholas said later in the meeting, we're going to address some updates and so forth. And so we do set the agenda for the meeting, and we appreciate your interest and you always coming in and giving us good information and stuff like that. But we need to determine what's appropriate to go on the website. Sometimes it might be private information, how much financial information needs to be on the website. Of course, you can always do a FOIA request if you want additional information, but it really is for us to decide, what needs to be on the website. And we have worked very hard, Sheree's done a good job with the help of John, to improve the website. So we know that that's a really good vehicle to communicate with you, and we're working on that. But at this meeting, for us to have answers to your questions immediately, I don't think is necessarily.
I'm sorry,
productive.
I didn't realize that question came up at this meeting. I think it's from a prior meeting.
Which,
I didn't realize I needed to ask about financials because I thought it was going to be addressed.
well,
Was
we'll,
that not a question
That
at
the
a prior
financials
meeting?
were going to be addressed today?
Well, if not
So
now,
can we
when?
just pause here? This is Sheree. I'm sorry for interrupting. There seems to be confusion about what question is on the table. I know that in the past, there's been a variety of questions about various financials associated with various projects. I don't think that we have any information regarding any financials today. Before you leave the podium, could you clarify what financials you're looking for?
The equivalent of a corporate balance sheet and income statement.
A balance sheet and income statement for whom?
The Lancaster Broadband Authority.
Okay,
I hope
so that will fall to the treasurer. I don't think that I'll speak for myself. I wasn't aware that that's what you're looking for, but LCBA will consult with its treasurer and determine what information is appropriate to post or not post,
yes,
Thank you.
as I understand you to be asking for it to be on the website.
right, it is better, whatever is determined to be posted should be posted for the entire public at the same time
Yeah.
and not necessarily handed out to individuals. I mean, you are part of the public, but we need to give it to everybody.
I could not be more delighted if every single person in the county got it.
Yep.
I don't need it personally.
No, that's why I would say, hold on to that, and we'll decide what goes out, and it'll be on the website.
Okay.
I suggest if the questions you asked today or we submitted are not clear, we're more than happy to clarify and provide more information. But it's discouraging that you put faster information in the August meeting and here at September 8th, we're not getting the information. Maybe not get confusion. We can clear this up immediately at any time.
Well-
What we're presenting is not clear.
Is someone speaking?
Oh, yeah, that was Chuck Bosniak.
So it's recorded. Could you please talk in the speaker?
Yeah,
I guess it's concerning that we provided information for the last several months and lately August the 8th, and I thought we were pretty specific what we were looking for. But if we're not, please let us know prior to the next meeting so we can clarify it, so we can get the information in a timely manner.
well, some of this information will be, now I'll say some of this, some of the points you raised would be raised at the next meeting. And if we decide, let's put this on the agenda to discuss an update on something, that's where you'll see the answer unless it's for some reason specific to you, to Eagles Landing or you individually. That's totally different. But anything that's for the general public, we would address at the next meeting.
Let me clarify something. I'm not here as a resident of Eagle Landing. I'm here as a resident of Lancaster County, and I think the information that I'm requesting is valuable to every citizen in the county.
No, I agree with, that's what I just said. We would, anything that the public should know would be addressed at our next meeting unless for some reason there was something specific to Eagle Landing. Otherwise, it will be addressed so the whole county has access to it at the same time.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes, Sherry?
can I speak? I think I understand the request. It might be useful if somebody has the list in front of them, but before you read the list that we currently have from our public commenters, I think a point of clarification, which Mr. Passaretti was attempting to explain at the beginning of this conversation, and that is that the list from the public are questions that concern the BTS contract with LCBA and the deployment of broadband generally in the county and the smart poles. If you look at today's agenda, you will see that there will be a report on the status of BTS, just as there was at our last meeting, the number of customers then, the number of customers today, and anything else that Mr. Passaretti may have to share. Number two, we will be covering also just generally the smart poles as part of the agenda. Just we're putting up a new map. We've been behind the scenes talking about the smart poles. There'll be a limited discussion today, and there'll also be modification to the map on the LCBA website. Number three, you'll also see on the agenda that we'll be giving an update on VATI and the relationship with Atlantic Broadband and the relationship with All Points Broadband Northern Neck. So hopefully, you know, maybe some of this is preceded. You're going to get some more information here shortly on some of the questions that you've had. And to the extent that whatever additional questions you feel haven't been answered, to the extent that they seem appropriately to be something that would be put up on the website, we'll address them there. Or you'll see that they will be addressed by one of the members of the authority or the executive director during these meetings. So my recommendation is, if the rest of the authority thinks it would be useful for the record, to read the list of questions presented by the public that Chuck just referred to, and then maybe we move on with the agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Cherie. Madam Vice Chair. Okay. Moving along, minutes, approval of minutes. Michelle?
Yes, I circulated the meeting minutes from the August 11th, 2021 meeting, a draft, and received comments and revised the minutes accordingly and submitted a final draft, which I believe everyone, no one had any additional comments. So I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the August 11, 2021 meeting.
All right, do you hear a second?
Sure.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
I wasn't here.
Right. All right, it's approved.
And you know what, I just noticed a typo on the date as I said this. Sorry, under the approval of minutes, it said Michelle Craddock made a motion to approve the minutes of the August 11th meeting. That was the date of that meeting itself. It should have been of the July, I think it was 8th meeting, right?
No, these are the
14th.
minutes from
It was
August 11th.
14th, July 14th.
14th.
Oh, the one that you, oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yes, right,
So
that one.
at the
That's right.
August 11th meeting,
We
we
approved.
approved the minutes for July 14th.
Right.
So could I correct that and make a motion subject to approve these minutes, subject to my correcting that typo?
I second that. All in favor? Yep. And you did change that other date at the end for the next
I
meeting.
did
Yeah, I
that,
saw you
yeah.
changed that one. Okay. Thank you. All right. My printer isn't working at home, so I've got it on my phone, the agenda. All right, Nicholas, you want to start on the VATI, the meeting we had with the other members of
Sure.
the VATI team?
Hold on, just hit the wrong, okay, there we go. So we had our meeting with Batty this week, earlier this week, and we got some updates. To date, there's 119 miles of walkouts that are completed. Now, that's for all 4 counties. They didn't give a breakdown per county. And the walkouts is really taking the field notes, sending people out to the field, get field notes for where the cables are going to go. Then they'll begin the design stage process of the engineering. Caroline County and Middlesex County's design should be completed by November 20th of this month, and Lancaster's being done in parallel with them. So we should be pretty not too far past that. The good news we had, which I think was wonderful news actually, is that the maximum installation fee is going to be $99 regardless of the length of someone's driveway. So they're really looking at this saying, it's really a plan to deliver broadband out there. They don't want to discourage anybody who has a long driveway by additional construction fees because of that. So $99 is the maximum, which I think is great news. The first report to DHCD was uploaded into the CAM system this week, so that was ahead of schedule. And we have our first BATI DHCD project manager meeting starting on September 14th. So we'll start that this month or next week, and then we'll do one every month to make sure, see how the projects are going individually, not just the BATI, but individually per county. So we'll have more granular information hopefully by the 14th.
The only other thing I want to add from that meeting, going to ABB, the project is on track to be completed on time. The supply chain, so far, ABB had ordered supplies ahead, even before we got the approval for VATI. So they have what they need to get started and have got, recommended what they need, they've ordered. So unless there's a risk, the only risk is if the supply chain, something slows down now, but they've got what they need to keep moving for the immediate future.
So just so I understand, they have ordered the materials, but they have not, they have the material, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sitting too far away. They have ordered the materials, there's confirmation of the order, but they don't have the materials in
No,
hand?
they have
or is
some,
that-
the ones they ordered last year, earlier, months ago, they have. And they still have others that they've ordered, and so far is on track that they'll get them whatever their dates are to receive that. Unless something happens in the supply chain, they're fine for months.
I'm just trying to understand if there's a potential for.
They say there's always the potential. They're hoping there isn't, but act of God, something happens. Everybody's ordering now. So unless the suppliers.
I understand, and typically fiber is one of the issues.
Yep.
But then anything with a chip, so all ONT devices will be an issue.
Well, there's a lot of things. So they have a blanket order for what they needed, what they anticipated. They had placed that already, and everything's in the queue for delivery when they need it. But it's really not just chips or fiber. Underground conduit has a tremendous long lead time now. That's was unforeseen.
Yeah.
So anything with polymers now is starting to be seen as a long lead time. But they did place their orders early, and they don't see any. They don't anticipate any real delays due to procurement. Doesn't mean that cannot change, but they don't. They mentioned they don't see any that happening.
And a good
It's
thing
a
is.
low probability right now.
The things they ordered early is on their dime. So the counties will not pay for that. That's why they have some of their materials ready on hand. The other thing is, they've ordered their door hangers to say, please excuse our dust, and they will be put into the areas as they start their work. They have a meeting with the marketing manager, and hopefully at our next meeting with them in October, they'll be able to give us their marketing plan for comments from the counties, what we want to be involved in, et cetera, et cetera. And they're looking at information for a press release for October. Am I forgetting anything else, Nicholas?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I guess the good news is that they're on schedule. The better news is that there's a maximum fee of $99.
That's the
which
best
I think
news.
is great. And the other thing that's great news is, I mentioned this last week, but it's worth mentioning, is that they're really building out more fiber than they originally anticipated. So it's all great things for the county, that there is going to be more fiber to the home and more upgrades to their existing network to provide better service throughout their whole territory.
Will they?
Nicholas, one question.
Go ahead, Sherry.
One question about the report that you mentioned, DHCD's report.
Yes.
Is that something that would be useful to the public and that we could link to from LCBA's website?
We may be able to. We'll take a look at that. There really wasn't much to report on this month. It's really just
Okay.
the first report. Even, I would say this, that Atlantic Broadband is reluctant to give out, not that they don't want to give out information, but they don't want us to jump the gun and, let people know that something may be happening right away, because there could be some delays. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes that is not visible to the public. That's, take the field walks, taking the engineering studies, submitting, pole attachment for make ready, all that kind of stuff that has to get done ahead of time before the construction crews actually hit the road and start placing fiber or coax, whatever, new network. So they're kind of, they want to manage expectations. They want to exceed them, but they want to manage them.
Is the report public today, or is it just an internal report?
I think it's an internal report that goes to the CAM's website, so it's really not an external report. We have to see, I don't know.
Okay,
It was
thank you.
just uploaded to CAM's
Yeah.
2 days ago, I guess Tuesday, I think it was uploaded. And that's just to, DHCD.
Is it the type of thing you need to get permission from ABB to go ahead and do that first?
You mean to make it public?
Yeah.
I would think so, because
Yeah.
it's their work.
That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, but we
is
can
you-
ask them,
right.
if they want
Yeah.
to take a few sentences out that might be misinterpreted, but we'll talk about that at the next meeting, or even at your meeting on the 14th, Nicholas, with the project managers.
The
You can
other
raise that.
question, I understand everybody's sensitive about the shape files for the GIS mapping for all these projects, because everybody's worried about what everybody's doing. After the project's already done, can we go ahead and get those? Because it's nice to have those as an as-built for our data. And we're in the same situation with anybody else. Nobody wants to have that out in the public until they're done with the work.
Okay. All right. What's next on here?
Madam Chairman.
Us.
Hey, Cassie. Do we know when the local match will be due for that VATI grant?
That will happen as they start work. They'll invoice us.
Okay.
For when they're doing things in Lancaster. Like the first invoices Nicholas mentioned will be Middlesex and, is it Matthews?
Caroline.
Caroline.
No, Caroline.
Caroline. But so we're going to get, and this was something we talked about at the meeting, that when they get to working in Lancaster doing that, and when they finish their design, whatever, we will get invoiced. So we don't have a date, but it could be, earliest would be next month probably.
Would it be invoiced in phases or all up front, or how, do you know that?
That came up, they said they're going to start with quarterly invoices, and then they'll go to monthly. I guess when they start putting shovels in the ground and everything, they'll move to monthly, but it's going to start as quarterly.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be phased though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Don?
No.
Okay. All righty. The next thing was, Nicholas, smart pole usage.
Yes. Okay, so smart poles, we're gonna put together a little matrix of, the total data, the weekly data, and how many devices are accessing the smart poles. We're gonna post this on the website. It's supposed to be part of the agenda, so you can look at this. This is what I was talking about before, where it's kind of difficult to talk about this data. It's more visual data for you. But in general, I'll just give you a couple of examples. For the courthouse smart pole, there was 36 gigabits total data passed through that smart pole. And last week ending 9/3, there was 7.9 gigabits used. That's by far our largest used pole. And there were 47 different devices on that in the week ending of, for the week of 9/3. So the next largest one, I believe, would be Nutsville is large. It's not as large as courthouse by far. It's almost 8 gigabits total bandwidth passed through there, and 301 megabits of bandwidth passed through there last week. We did have 3 poles that were not operational. One is backed up, and the 2 are being worked on. That's Thomas's Landing and the downtown pole. So I believe the equipment has been upgraded or replaced that was defective by lightning strikes. There was also some issues. Originally, they were using Verizon Wireless for the SIMS cards to get connectivity there, and then Verizon got rid of the plan that they were subscribed to, so they're trying to use T-Mobile and AT&T, which doesn't have as good as coverage, I believe. They are now BTS is looking to use fixed wireless point-to-point to bypass the T-Mobile and AT&T SIMS cards and just do a point-to-point circuit over to fixed wireless network. So that would certainly, hopefully, if they have line of sight, that should hopefully alleviate most of the problems we're seeing because of the SIMS cards.
Yeah, the first test will be Beulah Baptist Church, which has had very poor SIM card the whole time that they've had it. But they did get service. I don't know if you passed it, but if you look up to the top of the steeple, 3/4 up, you'll see the receiver on the back of the steeple. So as you pass by, you just have to look at the back of it. And so now they have that 25.3 service inside their church for broadcasting. And then the hope is, as Nicholas just described, they're going to take that and then beam that down to the smart pole, which is in their backyard. They love the light, but they would really want, ideally, have service there.
Yep. I know they have a program going, they really needed it, but won't go into that. You received the report from Nicholas on the smart poles. Do you see those when Nicholas sends out the smart pole info? Do you get that?
No, I mean, I know a little bit about it because we talked yesterday about it, but
Would you like to get that?
Sure.
Nicholas, you hit.
Okay, Don.
Yeah, yeah. I know you have an interest in the smart poles.
Yeah.
All right, you'll be on distribution for
Okay.
that. Okay. Okay. Next item, presenter, Don's always interested, for the 30 September monthly.
I'm around if you need me.
I can do it.
Okay,
I'm a-
I don't care.
I don't, go ahead, that's fine.
If you guys want to fight over it, be
No.
my guest. I've done it enough. I don't mind
You
skipping
said
a
it first,
few.
so,
You heard it here first. Gary will be there on the 30th.
unless you want me to do it, because I probably can't do it the next one.
It's fine, doesn't matter.
I mean,
No, don't worry, we'll always get coverage for the next one.
okay,
Yeah, okay. And then,
so Gary, you're tagged then, right?
and you know the
Okay.
date that the report's due to Don.
I do, I always think
It
it's
has
the
to go in
week
his
later.
portfolio.
I always have in my head it's the week of the meeting, and for some
Yeah.
reason,
All right, so that's.
The Thursday before, so it'd be the 20, well,
Yeah.
5 o'clock, close of business on the 23rd.
yes.
Close,
Yeah.
you heard it, close of business
On-
on the
yeah.
23rd.
Oh, not noon?
Yeah, no, well, the 23rd. Now,
When-
if you're going to go with noon, Friday is the
Oh,
24th.
that's Thursday.
Yeah, so,
Got it.
yeah, I prefer close of business on Thursday, drop
He hasn't
dead
done
is
that
noon
part
on
yet.
Friday. So,
Got it?
Got it.
Yeah, let me know if anything comes up, you need help with that.
Okay.
All
He
right,
hasn't done that report yet. You're asking for the number of sites.
They were asking for the fixed wireless sites, and Nicholas had, he was doing just smart poles there. Well,
Yeah, but on smart pole signage.
Oh, signage on the.
Don,
Oh,
here's
the
the
sign.
person.
I've ordered signs from Kilmarnock Lettering Company, but I have not been persistent in following up on that. That's my fault, so I'll take the blame and I'll follow up on that.
glad to let you handle that. No problems. All right, anything else from the agenda items or something I left off?
No.
The fixed wireless, just the data on that. For the presentation for fixed
Oh, that's
wireless.
this.
You
Yep,
did,
Okay.
yeah.
So for the fixed wireless, the CARES fixed wireless project, to date, well, not to date, as of 9/3, last Friday, there were 60 installs completed with a minimum of 25.3 megabits to a maximum of 140 by 50 megabits, 140 down, 50 megabits up, which is kind of interesting. And so that's really just the update. They're moving along pretty good. They seem to be accelerating the installations, and hopefully they'll keep getting better each week.
There's only 16 complete?
No, I think you said total of 64, was it, Nicholas?
60 is on the sheet
Yeah,
60.
as of last Friday,
Okay,
0.
as of 9/3.
okay.
Any other questions or anything else that should have been on the agenda? I
Um,
think, besides before closed session.
How about APB?
I
We
think
don't
that's
have
a
that on.
closed
That's
session
just closed.
discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Oh,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
there's not much update on All Points Broadband. Once again, they have completed where they did some field visits to ensure who was actually unserved and served. So I think, and it's more than they originally anticipated, but it was right around 2,700 people who they were unserved, who we originally said were unserved. So that was kind of, it matched Gary's mapping. I guess the biggest news with All Points Broadband is that there was a transfer of control to Searchlight, which is a private equity firm, which is a good thing I believe, for the county, for Lancaster County. Certainly would help with any of their equity concerns they may have had. So it doesn't really change anything in the way we do business with them, just a change of control in management.
Okay. Thanks, Nicholas. Anything else? Cherie?
No, nothing for me.
Okay. Kevin? Gary? Michelle? Okay, then going to close the public session and go into a closed session per 2.2-3711A29, contractual discussions. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I think you better go.
Yeah.